Good evening, Purple. Welcome to tonight's stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. Where are the peoples? The peoples, the peoples, the peoples. Where are the peoples? Bum, bum, bum. Rachel, good evening. Jeannie, Kevin, hello, hello. Long time no see. I did. How was your week? Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. I had one of those weeks where it's like, everything just worked out. So I can't complain. I got a lot done. Got a lot of things done. Cement Shoes, good evening. Hello from South Carolina. Hello, long time no see. This is Jeannie Purnell Cox. Well, good evening. Well, welcome to everybody. I'm glad you're all here tonight with us. Paris Shea, good evening. This is such a sad story. It is, Paris. It is a very sad story. We're going to get into it here in just a couple minutes. We're going to dive into some of the other things I've learned about the family, the mother, the grandmother, grandfather. Penny Thacker, hello from Michigan. Hello, Reichart. Good evening, Will and gang. Amazing Lover 96. Howdy, y'all. How is Amazing Lover 96? How are you doing? I hope you had a wonderful week. Shakespeare's in the house. Harley, 62. Good evening, everyone. And Will, good evening, Harley. Yeah, this is a very, very tragic story. And any way we go, it's not going to be a happy ending. So if content about a missing child disturbs you, this is probably not going to be the stream for you. I'm good. This is Amazing Lover 96. Good, good. All right, let's get this party started. So, in case you're not aware who Quinton Simon is, Quinton Simon is a 20-month-old little boy who went missing from Savana, Georgia. That's in case you're wondering what county that is Chatham County. He went missing on October 5th. Now, I'm going to give you a brief little timeline of the events from October 5th to kind of catch you up to where the story is and when it took a total twist, in a different direction. So October 5th, Quinton goes missing. At around 9:40 a.m. is when the mother, Leilani is how most people pronounce it, but I'm not sure if I'm still pronouncing it, wrong. Leilani Simon called 911. Now, the story that she originally told the 911 operators and the police when they showed up that morning was that her boyfriend came into the house and then left, and then they found the door open. But she kept on changing if the boyfriend came in or if the boyfriend went out. She changed that version, that portion of it several times. Now, this is immediately as the police showed up. The police, law enforcement that showed up that morning didn't believe her story immediately. They thought there was something very suspicious about the circumstances that a 20-month-old would be able to not only reach up to a doorknob and be able to turn the doorknob, but then figure out how to open the screen door and everything else to get out of the house. So they never issued an Amber Alert for the missing child. They started investigating this entire thing as a case of missing child, but they didn't believe her from the beginning. That this child somehow woke up, early in the morning, opened the door. Now, 20-month-old, that's just a little, tyke. We're not talking, an older kid. Maybe you had a child that, at 20 months of age, or a grandchild at 20 months of age could work a doorknob. But highly doubt it in this case. And the police, said she kept on flip-flopping and changing her story in the circumstances and everything else around it. Again, they did not believe her. They never issued an Amber Alert. They never issued a BOLO, be on the lookout for any kind of vehicle or person or anything like along those lines. They started investigating as a missing child, started looking around the house, and when they started investigating and looking around the house for evidence of maybe somebody came into the home, a broken window, a cut screen, anything, they found drug paraphernalia in the living room. They found it in the kitchen, and they found an excessive amount of empty beer cans that were sitting out and around in plain sight. That's on October 5th. All right, so on October 5th, the police department, law enforcement, not only the city police, the sheriff's department, and the state patrol, all three different bureaus, worked until 2 a.m. in the morning investigating it as a missing child case. They then returned the following morning, October 6th at 8 a.m. to conduct additional interviews with grandma, grandpa, and any of the other, neighbors or anybody else who may have been around or may have seen something. So they not only did they try to canvass the neighborhood and talk to as many people as they could, but some people were, off to work already. Those who have, a life, they have a job. They came back, the next day at 8 a.m. and started investigating and, speaking to other people. All right, on October 7th, the Chatham County Police Department, along with the search department, which is made up of local police departments and the sheriff's department, they gave an update on October 7th on where the case was at this time. That's when they put out, missing posters of the child, description, height, weight, color, eye color. They did on the 5th, but they put out an additional one on the 7th with additional information about what the child may have been wearing on that day. So that happened on this October 7th. October 10th, fast forward 3 more days. The investigation changed at that point. It was no longer a search for a missing child on the 10th of October. They had already started to move towards, recovery, but they didn't officially call it a recovery effort on the 10th, though. But they did say that they believed that they had enough evidence that was leading them in a completely different direction on this missing child. October 12th is when the police officially announced that they believed that Quinton Simon is deceased and that his body had been, whatever happened to him, they didn't say, they didn't give any evidence about what they believe may have happened to him on the 12th of October. They said that they believe that he is now deceased, and they are moving the investigation in that direction. At that time, on October 12th, they officially announced that Leilani Simon was a prime suspect in the case, but they did not arrest her on the 12th of October. October 13th is when additional light and security footage came to light on October 13th, but they would not say what that actual footage is because it's an ongoing investigation. But they said additional information had led them to believe that, and it put them in a direction where they stopped searching the woods and the other areas around, within a certain mile distance of the home, that they were focusing their directions in a particular direction. That was on the October 13th. October 14th is when they officially announced that this is going to be a recovery effort for the body of Quinton Simon and no longer a child search. And they knew where and how the body, and where it had gone. October 16th, and this is when things start to take a twist. All right, so we're talking what, 5 days ago. Um, a local drug dealer who is well known to law enforcement had shown up at a makeshift memorial that had been made with teddy bears and other stuffed animals and flowers and stuff there at the home. But this is a drug dealer who has actual connections to Leilani Simon and other members of her family, not the grandparents, but extended nieces and nephews, somewhere along that line. They just said extended family members. So you can draw your conclusion on what they meant by extended family members. All right. That was on the 16th. On the 18th, Leilani is officially questioned again at the police department by law enforcement on the 18th, and she gives them some additional information that leads them to believe that they need to start searching the landfill. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they believe that Quinton was discarded in a local dumpster at a business and that his body has been therefore transported by garbage truck to the landfill. That was on the 18th of October. Also on the 18th of October, Leilani Simon is spotted at a local gas station within an hour of actually being questioned by police and them getting the additional information to look at in the landfill. She's spotted at a local convenience store buying what the eyewitness said was a large amount of beer. Then later on the 18th, she was actually spotted at a local pub drinking and having fun with her friends and her boyfriend at the time. Well, still is the boyfriend at the time. Forward to October 19th, the following day. The investigation of the landfill continues. So that catches you up through the 19th as of 2 days ago on where the investigation is. The family of pharmacists. Lies, lies, and lies. Yep. Oh, a lot of lies. Okay. So I gave you the timeline from October 5th through the 19th. Now, there was a lot more that took place in between there and going before then that we need to understand. Leilani Simon does not have physical custody of either of her two children. So she did not have physical custody of Quinton Simon, who was born in 2021, and his older sibling, Zane Wharton, born in 2019. She doesn't have physical custody. She only has visitation. And now I can't confirm the part, about the actual beyond visitation, because it's actually, they sealed it and they won't release the custody agreement that is with the court. But the grandparents of Quinton Simon have physical custody, and there's some kind of an arrangement where they allow her to have overnight visits with both of her children at the residency that she has there in Chatham County. On top of that, going back to September, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the paternity and child support agreement for Leilani and for Quinton Simon. Sorry, not Simons. Simon. She was ordered to start paying child support in September of, from September of this year, but the very first payment was due November, was when she was supposed to start paying child support to Quinton Simon's grandparents. And by the way, those Quinton Simon's biological grandparents are her mother and her father. Okay, they had physical custody of him. In the child support agreement, she was she is noted as having an income of $1,257 a month is what she gets in state assistance. She doesn't get, she gets food stamps, welfare benefits, but it comes to $1,257 a month from DCSS or whatever that is with it. When it comes to the actual child support itself, 50% was supposed to be paid by the mother, 50% was supposed to be paid by the father, who is not in the picture. Neither one. Zane Wharton's father is not in the picture. Neither is the father of Quinton Simon. The first payment that she was supposed to make of $150 is due November 1st. 2 children. Quinton and Zane both are covered by state Medicaid program for insurance. She has a domestic violence restraining order against Zane Wharton's father, and that is to be kept in place. But she's supposed now this child support agreement is only for Quinton, $150 a month. 50% was supposed to come from the mother, 50% from the father of Quinton to the grandparents. Now, she obviously hasn't made any payments of it. On top of that, she was given a 15-day eviction notice, pay up or get out notice for where she was residing at. According to the online court records for the physically get out notice, she hadn't made a rent payment in over 3 months at that point. So they gave her several different chances to show up. Now, it should be noted that when the child support agreement, the actual case came to court, she didn't show up for any of the hearings, even though her legal aid a public defender had helped her with the actual child support agreement. She and all the other agreements that the same attorney did, but she didn't show up for any of them, even though he notified her, you need to show up for these. She didn't show up, so she lost by default in each and every one. All right, so on top of that, now we go to the she had got the restraining, she got the eviction notice, 15-day pay up or get out, but the day prior to that, she got into a physical altercation with her mother, Billy Joel Howell. Billy Joel and her father, Thomas Howell, were there to see about the living environment that she was in and if it was safe to have the children there. And she, I guess, she is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But the police officer did note scratches on Billy Joel's left arm, and the top of Billy Joel's hand from the actual physical altercation. He did not make any arrest. He forwarded the entire case to the DA to decide if they're actually going to file charges against her for assault against her mother. Now, in the state of Georgia, you do not have to have the actual individual who was assaulted. They don't have to sign or say, I want to press charges. The actual DA can make that decision if they're going to press charges. So even if Billy Joel said, I'm not going to push this any farther, I don't want charges, the DA is the one who makes that decision if they're going to press charges of assault against her. Now, the official court documents for this, for the custody and child support agreement, was entered at 11:49 on October 5th, the day that Quinton disappeared. That's the actual timestamp from the actual court records. She has another child named Sky. That Sky is not not listed anywhere in the custody agreement. So this is the child support agreement here. On page 2, right there, it only lists 2 children, Quinton Simon and Zane Wharton, and then their birth dates are X'd out right here. They don't list any other children named Sky or anything. If she has a child named Sky, it must be something that the court is not aware of at this point. Now, there's a restraining order that is attached to this against Wharton, Zane Wharton's father. So if she has a child named Sky, the court doesn't know about it, and they didn't note it in here. And I highly doubt she's paying child support for Sky, because she doesn't have any children at all that are in her physical custody. So if Sky was there, or if her older sibling Zane was there, I don't know about it. Can't confirm it at this point for the child and where the children resides. Okay. Does the grandparents have legal custody of both kids? Paris Shade. The grandparents only had physical custody of Quinton Simon. That was it. Zane Wharton lives elsewhere. He does not reside with Leilani Simon. So now I'm going to give you a little bit more of a timeline on the police reports for Leilani Simon. Going back to July. This is when everything's really started. If you have to look at the entire thing, think of it as like you're putting together a puzzle. So you have the custody agreement comes in, the assault, the eviction, then there's a large chunk of having to pay child support now for Quinton to her parents because they have physical custody of him and taking care of her children. So all of this is adding up to an entire picture. I'm not saying that Leilani is guilty of whatever happened to Quinton Simon. She is named the person of interest in the entire prime suspect in the entire thing, but they haven't made any arrests, and she is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But you have to look at try to put the entire puzzle together around this entire family. July, we're going back to the 23rd, 24th. Leilani Simon and her live-in boyfriend were asked to leave the residency of Billy Joel Howe, her mother, and her father's residency because the two of them were drunk and under the influence of narcotics. That is an actual police report. I'm reading it word for word from what is actually in the police report. The two of them left, and several hours later, the police were dispatched back to the home. They agreed to go to bed, and no further follow-up was needed. Then skipping forward to August 12th, the police were dispatched to the home for a verbal argument between the Leilani Simon and her father, Thomas Howe. The police report number SPC 3220149 is the actual file number. The two parties were arguing in the front lawn. Leilani Simons, the daughter, left the home and agreed to stay with a family friend for the evening to cool off. Later, October 12th, at approximately 10:30 p.m., Leilani Simon's boyfriend returned to the home, and where he got into an argument with Billy Joe Howe and Thomas Howe. It does not. His name is actually redacted from the police report that I can get online, so I don't know what his actual name is. The boyfriend that got into these two arguments. And then on September 6th, the police were dispatched again to 535 Buckwalter Street for an attempted theft of a lawnmower. Yeah, that was the next report after the August 12th. It says that the officers noted that the lawnmower had been moved from out into the middle of a yard. This was apparently a non-running lawnmower, and it looked like it had been dragged to that spot. That's the only police reports that I could find that actually come back to the house, and had either her name or it had the associates of hers. So that gets you up to date to where they are now, except for they are searching the landfill for evidence. Now, the other day at approximately 11:25 p.m., so a.m., sorry, a.m., 11:25 a.m., the police had recovered at least what people are assuming is evidence. They were seen removing two large plastic bags of evidence from the field, from the landfill, and taking them away to a state office where the state patrol is headquartered out of. But it did not say what those were, and it definitely was not the remains of Quinton Simon. So that's where we are at this point with the disappearance of Quinton Simon. Zane and Sky are in the custody of CPS. The journey to justice. Good evening and welcome. What is the likelihood of her going on the run if she isn't arrested soon? The police department, they answered that in the interview. They said that this time she is, she's not under arrest. She is out doing whatever she wants there in Chatham County. They do not believe that she is a flight risk. They are all with CPS. Again, I cannot confirm, Sky. I'm not saying he doesn't. There's not a child named Sky. It's just he's not in the papers, the restraining order. So there's nothing in there about keeping anyone away from Sky. There is, it does mention Zane, and in the actual child support agreement, it only lists Quinton Simon and Zane. So if there is a Sky, he must have a completely different father, and there is no custody or child support agreement entered into for him. Now, would that be uncommon? No. I mean, 3 different baby daddies for 3 different children. Billy Joel, the grandmother, has a sign outside her house to trespassers that they have cameras up and gifts are welcome for Quinton. Gifts? I don't know. I would hire a private investigator, Will. I love how thorough and driven you are. Well, thank you, Glowworm, and hope you had a wonderful week, and welcome to tonight's stream. Just seem concerned about the consequences. I don't understand how people can be so evil. I can't either. I'll never be able to wrap my head around how anybody could ever harm a child. It's one of those things that just, luckily for me, I guess, in my situation, after doing this for 4 years, constantly, it hasn't desensitized me to the point where I'm shocked by what people do. In a lot of ways, it really gets to me when I find these stories where people have harmed children. She didn't have to. If she did anything to Quinton, again, she's presumed innocent. If she did anything to Quinton, she didn't have to. She didn't have physical custody. She could have just, given up, all her parental rights and just walked on. She didn't have to do this. Is she the one who did it? Is it the father of one of her other children who did something? I don't know. Don't understand why she's not arrested. Well, thank you, Journey to Justice. I think if the gifts were like the teddy bears and stuffed animals and stuff like that at the memorial, I don't think anybody's like leaving other gifts. I mean, I saw flowers, some candles, stuffed animals, and stuff like that that have been left at the memorial for Quinton. I don't. Well, I think when it comes to a lot of times, when the police, don't make an immediate an arrest on somebody like her, if they have enough evidence against her, people aren't the brightest, it's unless they're professionals at crimes, at committing crimes. They'll fumble up. They'll go back to the scene of the crime. Maybe they'll go back to see if something that they discarded is still there. I don't know. The bio mother has a boyfriend, and he's the father of little girl Sky. Hmm. Just Shanny. And welcome, Just Shanny. I hope you had a wonderful week as well. He's left and he's in Atlanta, huh? I wonder which one that is. The boyfriend that left and is in Atlanta. Do you know what his first name is? Do they have, I've got information that I can't confirm about at least two other people that have been involved with her in the past couple of years. But I didn't read it off because I can't confirm either one of those two names or what their current relationship is with her. So I was just curious, which boyfriend this is that may have gone to Atlanta. Um, I don't just Shanny. I heard that there is possibly, I can't confirm that they have a video footage of her going to a dumpster and discarding things, but they did say that they had video footage that it was leading them in a different direction in the investigation in the recovery. Is it her? I don't know. They didn't say. But I mean, you can kind of draw the conclusion that that it may have been her, but I can't confirm that that it was definitely her that went to a dumpster. The Dirty South, Danny, the baby daddy. Huh. Okay, Danny's if is not the one that Danny is not the one that I was trying to follow up on. He's not the check forger. She's had a lot of really great winners in her life, and it happens, and we all make bad decisions in our life, but she's made a series of them over her, her what little adult life she's had so far. hmm. Journey to Justice. The father of Sky that moved to Atlanta. His friend said that he's done with her. I think they were breaking up. What has happened before they can arrest her? Is she just a person of interest at this point? No. She's a person of interest and prime suspect. What the police said. in the go back to the timeline. All right. On October 18th, they named her a prime suspect in the disappearance of Quinton. She is prime rib. She's only 22 and can't believe she's done. She's all she's done. Yeah. It's one of those things. Where it's like what one bad decision just compounds it, and then she just kept on going over and over again. I mean, if it wasn't for alcohol and drugs, I mean, she probably would be living just an average life, and nobody ever would have known anything about her. Well, that and the disappearance of Quinton, but it just seems like it's like one bad decision after another. It's just compounded, that fills in the entire pie. That if you look at the circumstances around the disappearance of Quinton, again, no job, no future. She's looking at eviction. She has to start paying child support for Quinton, and it just keeps on going and going and going. She's got restraining orders, and the court's looking at her. And it's just like, where do you stop and get off the crazy train? And sometimes that's really hard for people to be able to do, to say, okay, everything is going in just terribly in this direction. Maybe if I was able to step off the rails here, and just stop the madness. But how do you do it? How do you make that break? But then you should give you a push to be somebody instead of trying to find a boyfriend after boyfriend. No, that's true. Yeah, it's just insane. Meep meep. Good evening, meep meep. Welcome to tonight's stream. Sounds of it, I think the boyfriend was taking care of those kids more than the bio mother was. He was dropping them off and picking them up and making sure they had stuff. Well, I know when it comes to her, she certainly wasn't driving anywhere. Don't think she owned a car. If she did, it had to be just recently, within the last like 5 months, that she had a car. The abuse this baby suffered by the mother. She had a job, past tense. She's had several jobs, past tense. She wasn't working at the time. Not according to the Georgia Department of Human Services and Division of Child Support Services, the DCSS. On page 2, where it lists income and where her income comes from, it lists $1,257 monthly gross of the mother from state assistance. Job, just a line through the job where and for the defendant, and then it says defendant is mother, circled, of the minor children named in plaintiff complaint and listed below. Children: Quinton Simon, Zane Wharton. Income and guidelines. Underneath that, again, it says that she does not have a job according to the child support agreement. Reasonable, in addition to list of worksheet, court finds the following reasons to deviate from the child support table. No reason to deviate from the child support table. She's not in arrears, obviously, because this is a new agreement. The payments were to start immediately on November 1st, or and continue to either another agreement comes into place, or the child reaches 18 or becomes emancipated. So, civil action number CS 220118J3. 525, what was it? 525 or 535? Buckwalter Street, 535. Well, the babysitter said she would even take care of all the children, even when the bio mother wasn't going to work that day. The babysitter? Who was paying for the babysitter? I wonder. State? If she's smart, she signed up for state assistance for daycare. Half runner, good evening. How are you doing, sweetheart? Hope you've been doing well. Yeah, but I've seen crazy cases like this. I know some people personally who have gotten onto that crazy train and have never been able to make a break from it. It takes an awful lot of work to be able to step off those rails and say, that entire turmoil of boyfriend after boyfriend and the crazy things that come in and out of your life. It takes a lot of hard work and guts to be able to step away and say, look, I can't do this anymore. And I do know at least one person who did, who was able to step away from it all. But it took her probably 10 years after stepping away from it all just to get back to some type of normalcy. And she had to be, more selective on who she brought in her life, and what she did and where she went. And she had to start rethinking everything. The grandmother was paying for the babysitter. So that'd be a Billy Joel Howell, her mother. Quinton was out in the busy street alone. Harley. According to the this is the child support agreement for Chatham in the Superior Court of Chatham County, state of Georgia. All right. Let's see. One on page two. It says the court finds the monthly gross income of the mother is $1,257, and the monthly gross income of the father is $1,257. Reasons for deviation: the court did not deviate from the presumptive child support amount. No deductions for additional children. Underneath the amount of current support, defendant mother shall pay $150 per month as current support for the $75 for the child, half for father, 50% from the mother. Unreimbursed medical expenses and other items listed within the OCGA section 19-6-15. for child support agreement and state assistance. When there is or are only one child whom the child support is owed, the defendant shall pay only $100. That's for down the road. Redirection. The order is being set for more than one child. Should any other child live within the home of their current custodian, the amount of child support will be reduced. So, with that said, there underneath Section 6, if Sky lived in the home and was just a baby, the child support agreement would not be at the $150 a month payment. It would be reduced, and it says right there, should another child live in the home of their current custodial parent, the agreement will be redirected underneath DHS Rules 209-7-1-15 in reduction of the amount of for that child for the child support agreement. It doesn't list Sky anywhere on here. I'm not saying the Sky doesn't exist. I'm just saying it. Maybe Sky did live there, but according to the restraining order that is listed against Wharton, the father of her other child, Zane Wharton, according to that restraining order, there's no other minor children who live in the home. It does list Quinton and Zane, but it does, at that time, if he's only a couple months old, maybe the court order didn't catch up. But this was officially filed on, just the other day, the day the child disappeared, the day Quinton disappeared, and they didn't know about Sky. That's odd. Odd that they don't know about this other child living in the home, or maybe Sky didn't live in the home. I don't know, but it makes you kind of scratch your head and wonder why they didn't list the child as being there. Sky's dad was the only one making sure the kids were watched. Good evening, Karen Newsom, and welcome to tonight's stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope they find the precious body, and these monsters can be arrested. So do I, Paris, and welcome, Paris Shade. Sorry if I didn't greet you earlier. The babysitter said she was getting $15 per day for all the children. That's $30 for like 8 to 12 hours and something like 24 hours during the justice. So what that sounds like to me, the $15, I mean, obviously that's really super cheap. If you've ever had children, I mean, I do. I couldn't get my babysitter to sit with my child for even an hour for that. But anyways, that's beside the point. If the state was paying for the child support, they do make a portion, babysitter. They do make a portion that the parent must pay. So it's like they pay like basically a copay, like a small portion, and then the rest of it's picked up by the state. State assistance kicks in, and then the babysitter or care provider for the child is then sent a check once a month for the care, for the amount of hours that they actually, watched the child or took care of the child. That's what it sounds like to me at that little of amount. But $15, I couldn't get my daughter to sit with my son for an hour for $15. Good luck finding one of those out there in this world. I hate this chair. I'm just sitting here and I can just feel my chair going. I think the hydraulic thing in it is going out. Oh, thank you, Half Runner. Appreciate the super chat. Hope you're all doing well. Another case of horrible adults and unfortunate children. This is true. There are a lot of people out there, Half Runner, who never should have ever had any children. But yet, we can't, regulate stupidity in those who decide to have children. Some of the worst people, in this world have had children. But at the same time, there are beautiful people and great people out there who have had children and have raised, wonderful, little ones into adulthood. Excuse me. They took advantage of the babysitter. I remember the babysitter said that she didn't charge for the kids. Yeah, all these people acting like the birth control ain't free. All these kids were born with cocaine in their system and THC. Well, she admitted to, um, Lilani admitted to doing drugs during the pregnancy of Quinton Simon. That is an actual factual statement from her. She admitted to actually doing drugs during her pregnancy with Quinton. So, not surprised at all that he would have THC and or other drugs in his system when born. Some people just don't care. As simple as it is. I mean, as horrific, as it's like, why would you not care about the health of your unborn child? And they'll do anything and everything. The grandmother has custody of only two boys. She has nothing to do with Sky. When it comes to custody and child support, it has nothing to do with her. Hmm. She didn't even have custody of him. If she didn't want him, she could have just not taken visitation. That's true, absolutely true. And that's the part that I'm trying to get the documentation of the actual visitation agreement. Between the father, her, and grandmother. Somewhere in there has to be something that says, look, she was allowed to have overnight visits with one or all three of the kids at once, if they're if including Sky. Um, but I haven't been able to get it so far. I've been trying since what, October, about the 9th. So about 11, 12 days, somewhere in there. I've been trying to get the records, the rest of them. I was able to get the civil action, the child support agreement, the restraining order that's redacted. The police records, that was simple to find. That's right on the damn city's website. Wasn't she living at her mom's, Harley? Yes. Well, it's her mom's house. How about that? It's her mom's house, but she actually has a rental agreement to be there in one part of the house. But she hadn't been paying rent. That's why they went to the Chatham County courthouse and filed an actual eviction notice to have her and her boyfriend removed from the premises for non-payment of rent. And she didn't show up. Again, another one of the many court dates that they just entered a default judgment because she wouldn't show up. She wouldn't show up for the custody agreement. She wouldn't show up for the restraining order. She wouldn't show up for the child support agreement. She wouldn't show up for the eviction notice. She just wouldn't go. And here she is, just acting a fool still. And while they're searching the landfill for her missing 20-month-old child, and it's like, when are they going to realize she's just not going to show up when they find the child in the landfill? And hopefully they do. But at the same time, I hope they don't. I would much rather, in my heart, I would much rather that it was a child abduction. That one of the fathers or another grandmother or grandfather, somebody took the child, because they didn't like the way that she was, raising the, little Quinton. I'd much rather that be true than they have to go to a landfill and shift through it and find, the remains of, the little boy. And at the same time, there are people like this out there who could care less about their kids. They treat them like they're nothing. And then there are other parents, people out there who will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, in vitro fertilization to try to have a child, and they have a stable home, and they would love, to be blessed with any child at all. And They would be great parents. But then you got these people who just have children, nilly-nilly, and don't care about them at all. If she does care about them, she has a hell of a way of actually acting, and doing what she's doing. Running around with drug addicts, partying all night long at the bars with your friends while they search for your child in a landfill. That's not exactly something that screams Mommy of the Year award winner. But now she's drinking with her after watching after wanting to evict her. Well, she was showing that you can actually watch the video. I think you can find it online. Somebody, if they hold the camera down here, and they snapped a couple photos of her in the bar, and they actually did it's like a 1 minute 21-second video, the one that I watched, of her actually playing darts, and she's just drinking beer in the bar while they're out there in the landfill looking for her baby. Could be. That's what I was thinking. Get the daughter to drink and get her to talk. Now, alcohol definitely, for a lot of people, opens up the. They're not as standoffish. They open up. They don't really consider, what they're gonna, this version of the story they're gonna tell is. Hey, I'm still here. I am still here. I am. Smoke them if you got them. Yeah, but then the mom yelled at the protesters today that no one will find him. She's a basket case, I guess. I'm not saying that either one of the Billy Joe Howell or Thomas Howell. I'm not saying any of them are saints. Now you got to remember, for years, I mean, they put up with her and multiple boyfriends coming in and out of their place in residency. They knew she was on drugs. They knew she lied and stole from other family members and from themselves. I mean, that's all documented, from what they outside of the family, besides their actual statements that they've given to reporters that that she constantly lies, and they didn't believe the story about how Quinton disappeared. All right, Harley, you have a cigarette with me. Smoke them if you got them. I just upgraded the service that I'm using now, the streaming service on Restream. It took about 4 months to be able to finally be able to financially, justify the payment of the upgraded Premiere series for Restream. So I can turn the camera off, turn the mic off now, bring people on panel, all kinds of stuff. Well, they're Paris. To answer the question, they're more stable, and sometimes that's all it comes down to. When when a child goes into the system in a lot of states, I can't say this is for every state in every situation, but in a lot of states, when it comes to having to remove a child from a parental parent, they try to keep the child within the family itself instead of sending them off to a foster home. They say, okay, mom, grandma, and grandpa have a home. They have the means to take care of the child. They have the time. They don't. They're not wanted by the federal marshals right now. You know, okay, we'll let the child live with them, and then they set it up so they can actually have um, temporary physical custody until the situation works through the court system on where the child's going to go. But they don't. They try to keep families together. in a lot of states. Again, I cannot say that for every state, nor can I say that for every situation. That was one of her stories, though, that she blamed him for, for the door, that the child, that Quinton walked out of the house, or somebody took Quinton because he left the door open. But she changed that story multiple times, according to the police. She changed her story more than once when they, on October 5th, when they came to actually talk to her after the 911 call. Do I think the grandparents are no more? No. I think if Billy Joel or Thomas Howell, though that set of grandparents, if they knew more, they would have been at the police department and, and told them everything. I don't know if you guys have got a chance to see the interview with the grandparents, Billy Joel and Thomas Howell, when they were standing out in the street in front of the house, and she's just standing over on the by the doorway. You can see her walk by the window and then the door, and it's just like, how do you, if, as a grandparent, and your grandchild's missing? I don't know if I could do that. I'd probably run up to the house and, and shake them, and if nothing, it's like, come on, tell me what happened here. But that's probably the wrong thing to do, isn't it? Casey Anthony. In some aspects, there's some things that are kind of similar. I'm sinking again. This chair sucks. I'll eventually be sitting on the floor. I gotta buy some new chairs. Casey Anthony, though. Oh, isn't she a private detective now in Florida? PI. If anybody's going to know how to find a dead body, I'd probably call Casey Anthony. Hey, Casey, what happens to a body that's been in the trunk of a car for a while, wrapped up in a garbage bag and then thrown alongside the road? Smoking? You're smoking. Casey Anthony is guilty as sin. She deserves to be in prison and never be out, never be let out. But that's just me. I don't run the justice system. I just report on it. We used to do that to people at work, rig their chairs. This one, I'm just been sitting here all of a sudden. I can feel it just go. Just the hydraulic, 1,000% guilty. Yeah, she was. Who supplies the drug to her to get another drug dealer off the streets? Do I think she's going to get away with it? I mean, she's presumed innocent at this point. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that point at her, as being guilty. If she may not be guilty of the actual crime against Quinton, but she certainly is guilty of, making a humongous, you know, um, amount of bad decisions in her life. She should have done a lot of other things. She could have gone this way or that way with her life, but she's on this straight path, of destruction. Feel sorry for her, in some ways. It's got to be hard to raise 1, 2, 3 children by yourself, and none of these baby daddies are in the picture, from what I understand. I don't know if they're paying any child support. Well, the father of Quinton is going to have to start paying child support. Was supposed to, at least. I smoke tobacco. I roll my own with the machine by hand. Like one of those ones where you dump the tobacco in a thing, and then you just put the paper in it, and or are you talking about a hand roller? I have one of those around here somewhere. My buddy comes over here every once in a while. He hand rolls his own. He's got a little plastic container somewhere here. I don't know where it is offhand. I usually find it somewhere. He sticks it in one of these shelves behind me. Might be up on top. Dead beets. Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't know what her actual defense to all this is going to be. If they find Quinton, they're going to find they're going to preserve all the evidence in and around him, and probably other bags, and other evidence. Did he get out of the house and she didn't know it, and then he drowned in the pool? Did something else happen to him, in a fit of rage? Don't know. But one thing is for certain, though, he's not here with us. At least that's not what the law enforcement is looking at. They're not even remotely, looking for, a missing child anymore. It's a recovery effort at this point. What happens if no body, or how long do they look? Well, parents, according to the press announcement they gave the other day, they know this is not going to be a 1 or a 2-day search of the landfill. That it could take weeks, it could take months to actually be able to. But they have a certain section of the landfill that they're looking in, and that section of the landfill where they are is all from commercial dumpsters. So again, that they, if you have to take the rest of the information out here that's not confirmed, and kind of, people are speculating that. Is there video of her dumping Quinton in a dumpster? That's not confirmed, but there is. They said they had additional video footage that was leading them in another direction. That's what they've confirmed. But again, they're searching a section of the landfill that was only where they dumped commercial, bins. They're not looking in household, garbage. So they're focused on just that area. If they don't find the body, what will happen? I mean, she could be convicted of the crime without a body. If the evidence is overwhelming, you have to be able to prove that something happened to Quinton beyond the preponderance of the evidence. So you have to have enough evidence to prove that something actually happened to Quinton there, and that she was the one that was responsible for what happened. Some of it would be circumstantial, but they need more evidence. Hopefully they're able to find it, and that's why it's going to take so long, because they have to go through so much to be able to find them. But fortunately for them, they did narrow down quickly. That this was, if it wasn't for the fact that, let me put this in another way. Let me think about how to say it. If it wasn't for the fact that immediately on October 5th, when she reported that Quinton was missing, and them not believing the story, and then them searching the surrounding areas, but also focusing in on what was around that area, and where does she go, and what is her habits and stuff like that. that narrowed a lot of it down to directions. Okay, we don't have to look this far out. We can kind of narrow in the scope of the area a lot more to the house is in the center, so what's around the house and area wise. And there are some commercial properties, businesses, convenience stores, a couple of bars and stuff like that within a certain geographic location around the home, and so that helped narrow it down. And then they found additional footage, that like they said, that narrowed it down even more. So if that wouldn't have happened, if they would have believed the story initially that this could be an abduction, and they put out an Amber Alert and they put out a bolo, be on the lookout for, it would have taken much longer of a time frame before they were able to narrow it down to what they actually were able to narrow it down to pretty quickly, because again they didn't believe it. But if they would have believed it, that landfill would have filled up a lot more, and who's to say if they wouldn't have buried it by that time, because the section that they're searching hasn't been completely buried yet. So there is that. So I mean, I'm hopeful that they will find the evidence that they need there at the landfill, but don't know. 9 p.m. here where I am. I have to get up early for work. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. Well, thank you, Rachel. I have to get up too early in the morning. I have to be up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. comes mighty early in the morning, as my friend's mom used to tell me. 4 a.m. comes mighty early in the morning, so you better knock off your bullshit and get to sleep. But you have a great night, Rachel, and thank you again for stopping in tonight. She beat him so hard, it knocked him to the ground, and he smacked his head to where it was bleeding. And that's from a neighbor of Quinton's. I hadn't heard that. If they're talking about Quinton, depends on what the bio mother said to the police. She said she stayed in the house all morning and during the night before, and they see her at a dumpster. They know she's lying. Wow, a neighbor said that she hit Quinton. Well, that's another piece of evidence that'll be used against her if she, leading up to, if they can't find the body, that would be, actual evidence, eyewitness testimony that would definitely put her away. Why so early, Will? Well, first, I normally wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning anyways. I don't even own an alarm clock. I don't. I just, like that, I wake up and I can't get back to sleep. So it's like, oh well, let's get up. But tomorrow morning, I have something I have to do early. I have to take my friend to the airport. He doesn't have to be there until 6, but I gotta be there anyways. Gotta go pick him up. He's got to be there an hour early, so he's got to be there at 5, and I'm already up. I mean, I'm a great taxi service if nothing else. I don't use a machine. I roll them by hand. Now he's got one of those little things. It's like plastic. It's about that big. It's got a little thing on it. He puts the tobacco in there, puts the paper in it, and rolls them. I know it's around here somewhere. I just don't know where. Because the whole thing's in a plastic thing, and he usually has a bag. He buys like the loose tobacco. But I just don't know. I don't know where that little container is. It's somewhere, probably, over there he sits in the chair that's directly on the other side of this camera. But he comes here probably three times a month. We just kind of hang out in the studio. But he uses my I guess you call it a notebook. It's not a laptop. It's not a Chromebook. But it's like the in between the two of them. But he uses it to send emails and stuff like that because he doesn't have a computer. He is one of those unique individuals who prefers to not have the technology around him unless he needs it, and then that's very very rare. Debbie Mayhew, I love your channel. I feel so bad for this little boy. I just don't understand how the mother could do this. Neither do I, Debbie. And as long as I live, I hope I never really do understand why or how somebody can harm a child. I mean, I'm just happy at this point that I'm not desensitized to it, because I run across these stories constantly about the most horrific things that people have done to children. Bio mother was seen on video out near a dumpster. They say she waited for the trash man to come pick up the dumpster up, and then she left. Huh. I'm gonna have to look into that, Journey to Justice. I'm gonna have to look into that. You hate waking up early, Reichardt? Well, I guess waking up early is not for everyone, but I've never been able to change it's like my rhythm of life. I could go to bed at 12 o'clock at night and I'll wake up exactly at the same time like I do every other day. It's the most bizarre thing, but this is the way my body's built to wake up at that time. Normal people can't understand those awful ones. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I've got an entire shelf full of psychology books here, and you look up some of the things about people who harm children, and not even in psychology is there one clear-cut reason why people will do the things that they've done to children. Some of it is to strike back, to make that child hurt because they were hurt as a child. Some do it because they have that power, and ultimate control over a child. There's multiple reasons why people do the things that they do, and then there's those who maybe it was an accident, they went too far, maybe they were punishing the child and they didn't realize just how much what they're doing was going to really physically hurt the child. I mean, the reasons why they do it is so vast. People, and then there are people who just snap and they lose control of they black out or whatever, and they just do what they do. I like the Amish. They knock on your door and they ask you to make a phone call for them. Wonder if they asked to send emails yet. the Amish. We don't have any Amish around here where I live. We have Mennonites. We got a lot of Mennonites around here, but not Amish. The huge population of Mennonites, which is, I guess, somewhat close to Amish, but not really, not the same. The Amish, at least the kids get to leave for that 1 week of freedom to see if they want to stay in the Amish religion. They probably use computers. Depending on some of the communities have technology. I know that the Mennonites, they have cell phones, but again, I've never experienced the Amish. I've seen them on my travels across the United States. I've never been into their community. Something I really should do. I mean, I do find a lot of some of the things that they do. Maybe it'd be better if we all took a step back and we got away from this technology. Do we all need to have a computer in our our hands every single moment? Yeah, it's like every time I go out to a meal, or I have all my nieces and nephews and stuff, like Thanksgiving is coming up when they're here. We take their cell phones and we put them all in a pile in the either a pile or on the table, or we put them in a bowl like on Thanksgiving. We make everybody give up their cell phones. You don't get your cell phone back until after everything is over with, and it's not just when you're done eating; it's when everybody is done, and when the events are over with. Otherwise, that damn phone doesn't even leave their hands. They have it in their hands always. They're constantly checking their status updates, or if somebody liked their Instagram post or whatever it is. And so again, back to the Amish and the Mennonites, at least they've got that going for them. They're not glued to this damn technology 24/7. I watched a video online not too long ago of the Amish and a barn moving, a barn that you would keep like animals in, horses, sheep, stuff like that, cows, a huge barn where the entire community got together and they picked up the entire thing and moved it. Oh shit! Just set it there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy the pizza.
I will.
Say hi to your fans.
Hello, fans. That's my daughter. But they picked up the entire building. Each of them had a section of the building, and then the whole community picked the building up and then walked it over to where it was going to be, its new location was. Try to get your own community, around you to do that. I can't. I know I couldn't get enough of my friends together to pick up a building and move it, and about 200 yards, I think they moved it. Jennifer Nail must be beautiful for sure. Handmade bread box. It's huge, gorgeous. I buy bread just to use it. Hello to Will's daughter. Her name's Elizabeth. If you ever comment on my Twitter, not TikTok, but Twitter, Instagram, or other social media, Facebook, she's usually the one who responds back. It just says Wizard. That's the actual name. But she's the official person that takes care of my social media. The young teenage Amish boys drink. Picked up wood from the Amish that they loaded me quickly. They're very friendly to me. That's cool. Load of wood. Hmm. Oh, I wonder where the nearest Amish community is to me, though. I wouldn't know. They got to be somewhere. Where I live, though, I mean, we've got a large Mormon population, Mennonites, and but overwhelmingly a lot of Christians. But I'm sure there are other smaller groups, here and there. She's paid to do it, Harley. She is paid to take care of. She's one of my moderators, not on YouTube, but she's one of my moderators on the other forums, especially Twitch and Twitter. It takes a while to go through all that, and I don't understand either one of the platforms myself. I'm kind of like not a technology phobe, but I just don't. I don't understand the need for 24-hour, like updates, like, what's going on in my life and what story, in my case am I researching. People want to know. Pennsylvania is their mecca. Look for the Millers and Yoders. 62. There's two types of wood. Hammer tin star design. Oh, that'd be cool. I've always wanted a cabinet with a tin thing in it. What they call it, pie plate tin. They're in Ohio too, Pennsylvania. I can fit 2 loaves of bread, bananas, and bagels, and various other things. That's cool. Guess I don't have to make a trip back east and find an Amish community to hang out with or to visit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's stream, on the Quinton Simon case. I hope to be able to answer some more of these questions. I'm gonna look into this Sky, this mystery child, at least to me, mystery child, and I'm gonna look into more information on Danny and what boyfriend is in her life now, along with some other ones. And as I find new things about this, I will definitely do another video or a YouTube short or something as I find things. But tomorrow night, normally tonight we would have done trivia, but tomorrow night I moved the trivia to tomorrow night. So tomorrow night we're doing dumb criminals. So tomorrow night is it's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, not tomorrow night. I gotta think. Got it backwards. Mixed up my schedule here. It's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we're doing dumb criminals. Or maybe I'll do 2 streams tomorrow. Nah, just one. Well, everybody, good night and thank you again. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. It was nice to see some of my long-standing subscribers and supporters out there be able to stop in tonight. I hope that more of you will consider subscribing. In the meantime, everyone, stay safe out there. All right. Until next time.